You're super organized. Like, what gave you that idea? You don't like smutty books, and somebody else said you love to read erotic books. So you guys, I'm not sure what you think of me. Hi everybody, and welcome back to a new video on my booktube channel, Books with Leo. And today I have a slightly different video for you guys, because today I'm going to be reacting to all of your assumptions about me. So I shared this thing on my Instagram where you could send in assumptions about me, so things you think about me. And if you want to participate in that, if I ever do another one, then you can follow me on Instagram. I got a lot of responses, and this is also a bit to celebrate that I hit 16K on YouTube, which is just... I feel like this is what YouTubers always say, but it is genuinely so crazy, and I just feel so happy and grateful that I get to talk about books on here for you guys, so that just makes me really, really happy. I'm going to be responding to all of your assumptions about me. I also got myself a nice cup of tea to help me on this journey. For anybody stressing out, the septum is fake. Yeah, I like the way it looks on my face, but I was too scared to actually get a real one, because also, I don't know what I want in life. I have the assumptions ready on my phone, but they decided to disappear, so let me just re-look those up. Making this video has really made me realize that you guys all have a different version of me living in your heads, and none of those versions are actually me. That's obvious, but I just realized that, so that's been weird. I got a lot of responses. I'm just going to pick out a few that I find interesting to talk about, and also I think that will help you get to know me better, or something like that. Yeah, so let's just get into it. Somebody said, you do not enjoy sports. This is so funny to me because I am a genuinely sporty person. I really enjoy sports. I just don't enjoy all sports, which I think is applicable to most people that enjoy sports. You would never enjoy everything, but I think the sports we think about when we talk about sports are the type of sports that are not really my thing. So I'm not into football, I'm not into rugby, I'm so bad at any ball sport. I'm bad at tennis, or I'm so bad at badminton. It's it's ridiculous. I cannot do squash, I cannot do any of those things. But I really enjoy dancing. I've danced from a young age. I used to always do competitive gymnastics. I wasn't really that good, but I enjoyed it. When I was a bit older, I really got into pole and aerial silks and aerial sling mostly. That is my main apparatus, I would say. So I got really, really into circus sports. I've also tried out aerial hoop, but that wasn't really my thing. So I think aerial sling is definitely my favorite. And I also love pole dancing. It's one of my favorite things to do. I'm also roller skating currently because I can't do pole, but I'm not doing that as often. I used to train quite a lot for pole and aerial actually, but since the lockdown and since this whole panini thing, I have not really been training as much, and I really, really, really miss it. Almost every day I think about how much I miss it, because I just really want to go out there and do sports again and just move my body, get some of that stress out there. Ooh, I'm going to pick some that are about books now because I think that would be funny. You don't like when authors describe the setting too much and nothing really happens. I don't know. No, I think I actually quite like that. I am really into slow books. I love Robin Hobb's books, and in a lot of Robin Hobb's books, I feel like not a lot is going on. It's very character focused, and it's very much the journey that the character goes through and the surroundings that play a big part of the story, and that are what makes the story so wonderful and intriguing and beautiful. So I really do not mind. Also, in Truly Devious, some of my favorite scenes are where they are in the nooks in the building, and where she's reading and all those nooks in the boarding school. Same with Plain Dead Heroines. I loved the scenes in the greenhouse, in the orangerie, where they're all just sitting there and hiding away to read a book, and that cozy feeling and the surroundings and the magical way in which everything is described, the atmosphere. That is one of my favorite things about books. So I wouldn't really say that is true, but I get why you might think that. Somebody said, I assume that you would like to have your own library at some point. That is definitely true. It is a life goal of mine to one day have an entire room dedicated to books in my house. Currently, I only have 2 rooms, and I need one room to live in and work in, and I need the other one for sleeping. So I don't really have the space for another room filled with books yet. But one day I really, really want to have that. So I'm definitely looking forward to that possibly happening one day. A girl can dream. You read 4 books at once. I think if you've watched any of my latest videos, you know this is true. You know I read like 5, 6, maybe 10 books at the same time. I want to stop doing it because I feel like it makes me stressed out more than I should be, because I feel like there's 1,000 things I should be attending, you know, even though it's like these books are not pets. They can live on their own. It doesn't matter if you start at them and then pick them up a few months later, except for like you forget everything. So yeah, but that is definitely something I do. I'm just going to be picking a few random ones now. You used to be quite self-conscious, but now you're very confident. God, I would say I am confident. I like myself. I like myself a lot. I think I'm a really great person. I think everybody is self-conscious, especially growing up. I think it's very normal to be self-conscious and like maybe a bit insecure in your teen years. I sincerely hope that most people really learn to love themselves and like themselves, because like you will be the only constant thing in your entire life. You'll always have to live with yourself. So it's really nice if you actually like yourself. That will make your life so much better. When I was younger, I used to feel like people that like themselves and that like love themselves, adore themselves are sort of stupid. They're like dumb for not criticizing themselves, and they're like arrogant. But I realized that there's a balance in everything. There's a balance for everything. So this assumption is definitely a bit true, although I do get self-conscious, especially being on YouTube. I think a lot of people get self-conscious from filming themselves and editing it for hours. You should have to be like Superman in order to not get self-conscious about that every now and then. So there's definitely things like when my anxiety is having a bad day, so that includes me, I see my little anxious mannerisms and that makes me a bit upset sometimes and self-conscious. But also when I talk about difficult topics, I always get a bit self-conscious and I'm scared to say things wrong. The same goes for my accent. I used to be so insecure about my accent, and I still get really insecure about it because it's like a jumble of a lot of things, and a lot of people think I sort of fake it or I try to do an accent, and I cannot do an American accent. It's not like I've tried. Trust me, I've really tried. Like I can try right now. No, let's not get into it. This is what comes out of me when I talk, and yeah, there are definitely things I'm still self-conscious about, but I think that's normal. And when I'm insecure, it's mostly about my personality and like my place in the world, and not so much about my looks anymore. And when I was younger, it was much more about the way I look. I like myself, but I'm still self-conscious every now and then, but like a healthy amount, I would say. This was such a long tangent. I'm so sorry. Okay, Paul and Ariel have helped you become more confident over the years. That is definitely true. I think Paul and definitely Ariel Silk as well has helped me become so much more happy in my body and like love the way I move and love the way I can like do sports and enjoy them a lot and feel good about myself. When I started doing exotic pole, which is on heels and with a choreography, I was a bit self-conscious about like the whole thing in general. I did really want to do it because I love dancing. I've always danced, and I really wanted to do pole choreographies on heels because I just wanted to feel so badass. And as soon as I got into it, I did feel really badass. I have an amazing teacher as well. Her name is Jill. She's the coolest person I know. If you want to, you can follow her on Instagram. I'll drop her link down below. She's so cool. She reads as well, and she does pole. She's a philosopher. She has a magazine. She's like the coolest person I know. Hi Jill, if you're watching. I think having a wonderful teacher and a wonderful community definitely like lifts you up, and that is the same with pole. So you find it hard to live on your own. So for those of you who don't know, I live on my own. I have no roommates. I have this apartment by myself. Yeah, I struggle with it every now and then, but most of the time I adore living on my own. Like especially since the pandemic, it's been a little bit harder. I won't deny it, but I have so many amazing friends and people in my life, so I never really feel alone, even though I do spend a lot of time on my own, but I love spending time by myself, to be honest. I have a bit, like, I have some loner tendencies. I like to be alone. There's a lot of things I love doing on my own, but I do have to say, I love being alone most when I also get to spend time with people on other days. So yeah, you're super organized. What gave you that idea? Okay, I would say I am organized. I think you have to be, really, if you're a freelancer. If you're not, it's very stressful because I make my own schedules. And if I don't make a schedule, I am definitely more stressed because like I don't know what's going on. So I have a really big Notion page with like a home category, a category for groceries, a category for work, and then different categories within each category, and that's all very aesthetic as well. I love Notion, so I'm definitely very organized in that sense, but I can be a bit messy at the same time. Like my house is always clean and it's always like neat, but it's not perfect, you know, and it's a bit messy every now and then. The same goes for my closet. I used to be really messy as a teen and stuff, but I've gotten better and I'm not super organized, but I would say I'm organized enough. You're more of a party animal than people think you are. I love you and your channel, by the way. Thank you so much. That's definitely true. I think that's just a part of me that people don't see on BookTube, and it's kind of funny to me because I really love going out. I love concerts. I love festivals. I've obviously not been a lot recently because, well, Corona. But yeah, I love going out. I love being with friends on a night out and stuff like that. I really enjoy that. So I think people presume that I'm a bookworm that spends all of her time inside. And there's like truth to that, but it's not the entire truth. I do love going out, so yeah, that's definitely true. I have some assumptions that sort of go against each other, which is funny to me. You don't like smutty books, and somebody else said you love to read erotic books. So you guys are not sure what you think of me in this certain sense. I do love a good smutty book, like, yes. I loved the Talia Hibbert series with the Brown sisters, and that series is very smutty. Like, when I first started reading that, I remember I was on the bus, I was listening to this audiobook, and I didn't know it was so smutty. So I was in the bus, and like, stuff was going down in that book, and I was like, oh my god. I was like shocked. So I definitely love a good smutty book. I have not ever read anything that was purely erotic. I'm not sure if I'd be open to that because I do enjoy books having some other themes as well. But yeah, I love some smut. I love some smut in my romance. So there's your answer. I got quite a few that said you're Australian, you've lived in Australia at some point in your life, you have Australian family. And it's like, this just keeps coming up. I'm not Australian, she says with the most Australian accent. Guys, I'm not Australian and I don't know where the accent came from. Sorry, this is just so funny to me because I'm not Australian. I'm just not. I have some family in America and I've visited them as well. I've spent some time there. They live near San Francisco, and I also have some family near Los Angeles. My dad works for a British company, so growing up I heard more British English, but still my dad doesn't have like a British accent actually. Like, it's not. So I don't know. I'm Dutch. I'm from the Netherlands. Yeah, that's it. Somebody said you're not naturally blonde. This is obviously not my natural hair color. This has been bleached, but I am a natural blonde, but more a dark blonde. Somebody else said you're not shy to talk to strangers. That's definitely true. Like, I've walked up to people and talked to them many times. I remember going to a book club and making new friends. Same goes for Paul. I've made friends in the bookstore. I've wanted to talk to a guy on the street because I thought his dog was cute. So no, that's not something I regularly have an issue with unless I'm having a bad period of anxiety. But yeah, normally I quite like complimenting strangers as well. Like, I remember when I worked in Amsterdam, I'd be on the bus and I'd be like, oh my god, that girl looks so good. And I'd say like, oh my god, I love your outfit. And she'd be like, thank you. You like all book genres. I definitely like a lot of book genres. Like, I love mysteries, I love historical books, I love romance, I love fantasy, I love literary fiction. I read poetry sometimes. I read a lot of things. So yeah, I even read non-fiction. So yeah, that's definitely an assumption that has some truth to it. You've never had a serious or long-term relationship. I got several ones that were along these lines, and that's kind of funny to me because I have. I think it's just not something you see a lot of on my YouTube channel. But I was in a relationship for 3.5 years. We even lived together at some point. And before that, I had a few relationships, but none of them are like very mention worthy, to be honest. No shade. And I've dated quite some people over the last years, but nothing serious has come from it, to be honest. So I would be open, I think, right now for a relationship. For the longest time, I was just really enjoying being single and I wasn't really looking for anything. And I'm still not like actively looking because that's just so tiring to me. But definitely if something nice were to come to me right now, I'd be very open to it. Although I do really like being single and like not having to change your pace of life to another person, but just like do what you want and do what fits you best and like sort of have lots of time to spend with friends and family and yeah, I really got a lot closer with a lot of my friends since being single. So yeah, I do really enjoy that. You have a very big family and you have a strong bond to them. That's definitely true as well. I have a huge family. I know a lot of people, when they meet my family, or like friends, when they meet my family, they're like, oh my God, you have such a big family. And it's true. Especially growing up, I was very close to my niece and nephew as well. And me and my sister are super, super close. I love her and we spend a lot of time together as well. That's definitely true. You are in uni. And another one said, you did really well in school. I did do really well in school, especially in high school. I was really thriving. Not all of the time, by the way. I was really, really bad at math and stuff, but I loved languages. I did German, French, Dutch, of course, and English as well. I did English on a higher level. So I enjoyed school. I enjoy learning stuff. And I went to art school, actually. I went to art academy. I'm a film major, so I studied film. I graduated with a feminist documentary series on women in the arts. If you want to see it, it's still available, so I'll link it down below. It is subtitled, so... Okay, so I'm not in uni anymore. I've graduated in 2019 and I've been freelancing as a booktuber, book reviewer, but also as an illustrator and as a video editor. I do many things, to be honest. I've done animation jobs as well, but my web shop is also a big part of my job right now. That's like what I do mostly. So yeah, I've graduated and I'm not in uni anymore. I do think about going back sometimes because I'd really like to learn more about writing. I've done some writing courses over the past few years and I've really enjoyed those. Maybe one day, because I did minor in journalism in school, so sometimes I think about going back to do more things related to writing or maybe illustration, even though I already did art school, but still. Someone else said you'd love to write a fantasy book one day. I don't know. Maybe. I would definitely love to write a book one day, but I'm not really sure what genre it would be. I've always been writing from a very young age, but I've never really finished like an entire book. Although I've written short stories and I also write for a feminist platform. I write columns for them. So yeah, I definitely still write and I would love to publish a book someday, but there's nothing concrete on the agenda. So yeah. You always make tea to drink when reading, but forget it and it goes cold. This one has kindly reminded me of my tea. It is definitely going cold, so thank you, and that's true. You create English content to reach more people instead of your native language, Dutch. That's definitely true as well. For the people who don't know, I've been on BookTube for over 7 years. Oh my God, such a long time. But before I started this channel, I had a channel in Dutch and I talked about books in Dutch. I did a lot of other things on that channel as well, but at the end it was mainly books, and that's also why I decided to make this channel, to reach a bigger audience. And it's definitely worked because my previous channel was sort of stuck at 3,000 subscribers, which is a lovely amount of people, and I've created content for that channel for the longest time with a lot of joy, and I really loved doing that. But I also just wanted to try and reach some more people, make some international friends, and see what the international booktube community was all about. So yeah, that's definitely an assumption that is true. I do think about going back and making Dutch booktube videos too, like next to this. But I'm just sort of scared there's not a lot of people who are interested in that. Because I feel like most Dutch people speak English anyway, so I don't know. Maybe one day, if I find the time. Elias says, you're so creative and amazing, bitch. Tell me your secret. Don't get humble on me. Thank you, Elias. I love you. I don't know the secret. I'm sorry. I promise I'm not being humble. I am really proud of myself for a lot of the things I create, and I love creating stuff and drawing and illustrating, animating. I love editing. I love doing YouTube. I think practice, to be honest. And I mean, Elias himself is an amazing creator, so he's got nothing to worry about. But for anybody out there, just if you want to do something creative and you're scared, just start doing it and start learning. And in order to be good at something, you have to be shitty at it. And I think that's also why I've grown so much, because I've been doing this for a long time and I definitely have made some really, really shitty content along the way. It's just not been on this channel a lot. So yeah. Some of my old videos in Dutch especially, they're messy, and even some videos on this channel, to be honest. And I think if you look back on your content from a year ago and you feel like it doesn't represent you anymore, that's not a bad thing. That just means that you've grown as a creator. So that's a good thing. So yeah, and I love Elias's content, so you should check him out. Somebody said, you don't like tomatoes. I do. They're nice. There's nothing wrong with them. You're vegan. I'm not vegan. I'm pescatarian, so I don't eat meat, but I do eat fish. I don't eat a lot of fish. I rarely eat fish. but sometimes when I'm going out for dinner and it's hard to eat like totally vegetarian, then I eat pescatarian. And I eat vegan a lot of the time too, but like not constantly. Okay, this is the last one I'm doing. Honestly, I could keep doing this for hours because it's so entertaining to me. But this is the last one we're doing. Somebody said you do not cry at many books, and I'm not sure what about me gave that idea to you, because I cry about absolutely everything. I'm a crybaby. I cry about lots of things, and I cry about lots of books too. Like last week I was watching Modern Family, cried. Then I was watching Derry Girls, which is a sitcom as well. I cried. I've cried during comedy movies. Not sure what's wrong with me. With books as well. I cry about a lot of books, even though they're not even that sad. All the time I'm just emotional and then I start crying. So I definitely cry at some books. And The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo will always make me cry. So that's just a given. So yeah, that was this video filled with assumptions that you guys have about me. I hope you enjoyed this and it wasn't super boring. Thank you again for all the love on this channel and for you guys supporting me. And I really love that, and I hope I get to make lots more content and get to keep talking about books to you guys on the internet, because I really adore doing this. So yeah, thank you so much, and yeah, I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.